We're live. Okay, we are live. This is
That's right.
the committee of conference yield bill. And I think it is our turn to come up.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. We talked after and gone yesterday. And then there was conversations with the board. We would have liked to start it at 116%. Ramp it down. The fifth floor would like 14, but would go, thought they could live with 15, which means maybe won't get beat up. So our proposal would be to start at 115%, ramp it down 1% a year until it was 1.05 or when the foundation kicks in. And exclude bonds that were passed prior to this July 1st.
Whoa. Okay.
Woodstock doesn't have your.
If I pass something every time I got an email that they're coming.
I think with the rationale being just to be fair, to treat fairly.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But to your point, not accepting future bonds because that could go against some of our other macro interests or rethinking how education districts want to work for consolidated. Yes.
Do you have two questions? One, I think sort of the fairness issue was that all those other districts, when they passed their bonds were not excluded from the excess spending threshold. And so they passed them under one assumption, and then bonds that have passed since that date passed those bonds, assuming that they would be included. And so that's sort of where fairness, I think, sits for us. But I hear that that's not your proposal. I'm curious if you know how much more spending we would be, what those numbers look like.
We don't. I think that it was.
May I ask staff that question?
Yeah, so excess spending, but we are lowering the excess spending threshold. That's the rationale when they passed bond. They didn't know we were going to much of the threshold.
That makes sense. Julia, how much?
Julia Ritter, JFO. My understanding from data from the bond bank is that there's about 11.8 million in additional annual principal and interest payments for the bonds that have passed since the July 1, 2024. Of those 11 districts that would sum up to the 11.8, there's only one district that is estimated to cross this year's excess spending threshold. We don't know, and we don't know, of course, how school districts would react to building their budgets if those principal and interest payments were to be excluded.
For the record, that one school district that is currently over is not considering the new building.
Correct. That's bonds that have already passed. That's principal and interest payments that exist within our current education spending.
And just to put a fine point there, only exempt from the excess spending threshold is still % of tax obligation.
And then how, when we, between 116 and 115, how many millions of dollars, Julia, are sort of swiping the excess spending?
So I did pass out hard copies to the conference committee members, and I did post it online under my name. You're asking the difference between 116 and 115. So 116, you see that 12 districts would be caught using the FY27 data. That's about 6.5 million. When going down to 115%, if this were to have been in effect in FY27, that would be 16 districts and 8.1 million. So an increase of 4 districts.
Did you say 8.1?
Correct. So an increase of 4 districts and about 1.5.
Yes. Let me ask you a question, because we have put forth a construct that was based on the education opportunity plan, that there was an X-73, and that's a different way to look at it. Is you proposing to stick with the construct that is the excess spending threshold, or does it matter to you?
That is no entity to switch, you know, how we're calculating. We think might be more than we want to put on schools. Getting kind of concerned about how much just psychological capacity school boards have. We're asking them to do a whole lot of work in the next few years. And at the same time, we put extreme budget pressure on them, and that's drawing their focus. And the more they have to refigure how they calculate, I think that just adds to the urgency. So we're trying to keep the pressure on so that they'll be motivated. But if we put on too much pressure, they'll be overwhelmed.
So we need to just, of course, discuss this. It seems, so you're preferring the pressure of sort of the financial pressure over the pressure of sort of thinking towards the future that we were trying to set up with this new framework.
I think so, yeah.
This is a tiny thing, but I don't want to forget it. Tax department has asked for a minor tweak in the circuit breaker construct. I think they talked to you about it too. So
Yeah.
Kirby and Abby are going to talk to each other, and then Luke, you and John.
Yeah.
And that will actually, maybe you already have the language. Okay, great.
Right now.
Okay.
They
Great,
characterize
okay.
it as de minimis. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remember to bring it up.
This technical correction.
It's,
I don't think it's like a few $100,000, which is de minimis in the context of the education fund, not de
Yes, it
minimis
is.
if it was say like,
The average person.
or even an average school district, actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's a little exemption in the circuit breaker
Yeah.
that just needs to be consistent across, that's all.
Okay.
It's a weird, if under the circuit breaker, you would pay, more than
we
what
could have
you
Julia.
It's a small.
If you think about the way that the property taxes are calculated, and you can sort of pay on property or pay on income. Circuit breaker that we've been talking about thus far is you can only pay a certain percentage of your income toward property taxes based on your income, right? And the proposal that you all agreed on is to move that upper threshold from 47,000 to 50,000. There's also a sort of a parallel provision within statute where if your income is below 47,000, there's a homestead exemption, so you can subtract 15,000 from the value of your house site. And so tax raised the point that it's actually distinct from the veterans exemption. And it's sort of the circuit breaker if you're paying on property. And tax raised the point that the way that all of their systems are put together, by moving one of the levers and not moving the other lever, it'll throw sort of their systems out of whack. But the modeling is not actually closer to less than 100,000 to include this exemption.
Thanks, Julie.
Okay.
I would really love for us to be able to figure this out and tie this up with a bow. And I am nervous since it's not going to be able to work for us. And so we'll go off and try to come up with a new plan.
Okay.
Thanks. Sorry to bring so many people into the room for so few minutes.
Okay, do you want to just let us know? Do you want to?
Let's schedule the next thing right now.
Okay, that's the first one. We're on the floor at the head. We're supposed to get on the close at 12:30.
Let's do 12. Do I
You
another
want to do
one?
one.
Another thing at 12:30?
One might be safer.
One might be safer.
one.
We might need a third or fourth meeting today is all.
Yeah, it's today.
Yes.
Nothing.
Okay, let's do 12:30. Is that what you were just gonna say?
Well, I was thinking one might be safer.
Okay, great. I don't want you all to be angry. Let's do that.
Okay. You want people